Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite channel, Learn English. I'm Martin.
And I'm Luna. We are so happy to have you here with us today for another conversation lesson.
How are you doing today, Luna? You look very happy and energetic.
I am fantastic, Martin. I'm feeling refreshed because I just came back from a long holiday.
That is exactly what we're going to talk about today. We are going to discuss holiday experiences. This is a great topic to help you learn how to use the past tense and learn new travel vocabulary.
That's right. Talking about travel is one of the best ways to start a conversation in English with anyone, anywhere in the world.
Absolutely. But before we pack our bags and start our story, we have a small favor to ask. If you are new here and you want to improve your English speaking and listening skills, please hit that subscribe button below.
Yes, please join our community. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss a new lesson from Martin and me. We post new videos every week.
All right, now that we've got that covered, let's get back to the topic. Luna, you said you just came back from a trip. Everyone is dying to know, where did you go?
Well, I went to a place famous for cheese, fashion, and romance. I went to France.
Wow, France. That sounds amazing. I have always wanted to go there. Was it your first time visiting Europe?
Yes, it was my very first time in Europe, and specifically in France. It was such an unforgettable experience.
I can't wait to hear all the details. Let's dive into your journey.
So Luna, let's go back to the beginning of your trip. You landed in Paris. What was your very first impression when you arrived in the city?
To be honest, Martin, at first I was just exhausted from the long flight. But the moment I stepped out of the train station in the city center, I forgot about how tired I was. My first impression was that it felt like I was walking into a movie set.
That sounds incredible. A lot of people say Paris is magical. Did it feel magical to you?
It really did. The first thing I noticed was the architecture. It is so different from what we see here. The buildings are old, but they are incredibly beautiful and well preserved.
I've seen photos. Most buildings in Paris have a very specific style, right? Cream-colored stone and gray roofs?
Exactly. Almost every building looks historic. I loved looking at the windows. Many of them have small balconies with iron railings and colorful flowers. It makes the streets look very charming and romantic.
Charming is a great word to describe it. But Paris is also a huge capital city. Was it very crowded?
Yes, that was the other side of my experience. It was quite overwhelming at first. The streets were packed with people, tourists, locals rushing to work, bicycles and cars everywhere.
So it wasn't quiet and peaceful all the time.
Definitely not. It is a bustling, noisy city. You hear sirens and car horns a lot. But here's the interesting part. Even though it is busy, the atmosphere still feels relaxed in a way.
What do you mean? How can it be busy and relaxed at the same time?
Well, even with all the noise, you see people sitting at small round tables outside cafes, just drinking coffee and watching the world go by. They don't seem rushed. It creates a very unique vibe.
That sounds like a wonderful culture. So overall, your general impression was positive, despite the crowds.
Oh, absolutely. The mix of the stunning history, the busy energy, and that cafe culture, it just made me fall in love with the city immediately.
It sounds like a place with a lot of character. I can imagine why you liked it so much.
All right, Luna, we can't talk about Paris without talking about the most famous landmark in the world. Did you visit the Eiffel Tower?
Of course, you literally cannot miss it. It stands tall in the middle of the city. Seeing it for the first time in real life was breathtaking. It is much bigger than it looks in photos.
I bet it is. So did you buy a ticket and go all the way to the top to see the view?
Well, that was the plan, but here's the reality of traveling in the summer. The queues were insane.
Oh no, was the line really that long?
It was incredibly long. We arrived in the morning and the wait time was already over 3 hours just to get to the elevator. So we decided to skip going up.
3 hours is a long time. So what did you do instead?
We did something that I think was actually better. We went to a supermarket, bought some cheese, bread, and grapes, and we had a picnic on the grass right in front of the tower.
That sounds fantastic. You got to enjoy the view without the stress of standing in line.
Exactly. We sat there for hours just talking and eating, and we stayed until sunset to see the tower sparkle. For 5 minutes every hour at night, the whole tower glitters with lights. It was magical.
That sounds like a perfect evening. But besides the Eiffel Tower, did you visit any museums? Paris is famous for art, right?
Yes, we went to the Louvre Museum. You know, the one with the big glass pyramid outside?
Yes, the biggest art museum in the world. Did you see the Mona Lisa?
We did, but I have to be honest with you, Martin, it was a little bit disappointing.
Really? Why? It's the most famous painting in the world.
It is, but it is actually very small, and it is protected behind thick glass. Plus, there were hundreds of people pushing and shoving just to take a selfie with it. It was hard to even see the painting.
I have heard that from other travelers too. It sounds chaotic. Did you see any other art there?
Yes, the rest of the museum was wonderful. We saw the Venus de Milo and massive paintings that covered entire walls. The museum is so huge that you could walk for days and not see everything.
It sounds like you need comfortable shoes to visit the Louvre.
Definitely. My feet were killing me by the end of the day, but it was worth it to see so many masterpieces.
Okay, Luna, we have talked about the sights and the art, but we need to discuss something very important. Let's talk about the food. French cuisine is famous all over the world.
Oh, Martin, the food was absolutely the highlight of my trip. I think I gained a few kilograms because I couldn't stop eating.
I don't blame you. Let's start with breakfast. Is it true that the bread in France is different from what we have here?
It is completely different. In Paris, there's a bakery or a boulangerie on almost every corner. You can smell the fresh bread from down the street. It is a mouth-watering smell.
That sounds like heaven. What was your typical breakfast?
Every single morning, I went to the local bakery and bought a fresh croissant. And let me tell you, a real French croissant is a work of art.
How would you describe it? What makes it so special?
Well, the texture is amazing. The outside is incredibly crispy and flaky. When you bite into it, crumbs go everywhere, but the inside is soft, airy, and buttery. It literally melts in your mouth.
Stop, you are making me hungry. That sounds delicious. But French food isn't just about pastries. Did you try any of the famous traditional dishes?
I did. I promised myself I would be adventurous, so I tried escargot.
Escargot. That means snails, right?
Yes, cooked land snails.
Oh, wow. You're very brave. I don't think I could do it. What did they look like? Did they serve them in the shell?
Yes, they came in the shells on a special tray with 6 little holes. They gave me a special tong to hold the shell and a tiny fork to pull the meat out.
That sounds like a surgical operation. So the big question is, how did it taste? Was it gross?
Honestly, it wasn't gross at all. The texture was a little bit chewy, kind of like a mushroom or maybe a clam, but the flavor was actually really good.
Really? What did it taste like?
It mostly tasted like the sauce. They cooked them in a lot of garlic, parsley, and high-quality butter, so it was very savory and salty. If you like garlic bread, you would probably like escargot.
I love garlic bread, but I think I will stick to the croissants for now. Did you try anything else sweet?
Yes, macarons. They're these colorful little cookie sandwiches. They're crunchy on the outside and chewy in the middle. I tried a salted caramel one that was to die for.
To die for. That is a great phrase. It means something is incredibly good. It sounds like you ate very well in France, Luna.
I certainly did. I miss the food already.
Now, Luna, I have a question that worries a lot of travelers. The language barrier. Do you speak French?
No, not at all. Before I went, I tried to learn on an app, but French pronunciation is very difficult for me. I can say bonjour, merci, and s'il vous plaît. That is about it.
That is very basic. So, was it difficult to communicate with the locals? I've heard a rumor that French people don't like to speak English. Is that true?
I heard that stereotype too, but my experience was actually quite different. It wasn't that they don't like English, but they really appreciate it if you try to speak French first.
So, you can't just walk up to someone and start talking in English.
Exactly. That is considered rude. I learned a magic phrase, bonjour, parlez-vous anglais, which means, hello, do you speak English?
And did that work?
Like magic. When I started with that, people were usually very friendly and willing to switch to English. Most younger people in Paris speak English quite fluently. But if you just start shouting in English without saying hello, they might ignore you.
That is a great tip. It's all about showing respect. Did you experience any other culture shocks?
Yes, there was one big one regarding shopping etiquette. In our country, if you walk into a store, you can just look around silently, right?
Sure, you just browse. You don't have to talk to the shop assistant.
Well, in France, that is a big mistake. When you enter a small shop or a bakery, you must acknowledge the person working there. You have to say bonjour immediately.
Really? What happens if you don't?
If you don't, the service might be, let's say, very cold. I made that mistake on my first day. I walked into a shop and didn't say anything. The shopkeeper looked quite annoyed with me. Later, my friend told me that for them, it's like entering someone's house without saying hello.
That is a very interesting cultural difference. It's a small gesture, but it makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. By the end of the trip, I was saying bonjour to everyone.
What about when you couldn't communicate at all? For example, reading menus or signs.
Technology saved my life. I use the Google Translate camera feature constantly. You just point your phone camera at a menu and it translates the text into English instantly.
That sounds incredibly convenient. It makes traveling so much easier than it used to be.
It does, but I still think learning a few polite words is the most important tool you can have.
Moving on to the logistics of your trip. Paris is a massive city. How did you get around? Did you take taxis everywhere?
Oh no, definitely not. We took a taxi from the airport to our hotel, and it was quite expensive. Plus, the traffic in Paris can be terrible during rush hour. You can get stuck in a traffic jam for ages.
That sounds frustrating. So what was your main mode of transportation?
We mostly used the metro. That is what they call the underground train system in Paris.
I've seen pictures of the metro signs. Is it a good system?
It is incredibly efficient. There are stations everywhere. I don't think we ever walked more than 5 minutes to find a station. It is much faster than driving because you skip all the traffic above ground.
Was it easy to use for a first-time visitor?
To be honest, it was a little intimidating at first. The metro map looks like a giant bowl of colorful spaghetti. There are so many different lines. Line 1, Line 4, RERB. It is a huge network.
A giant bowl of spaghetti. That is a funny description. So how did you know which train to take?
We used the navigation app on our phones. It told us exactly which line to take, where to transfer, and which exit to use. Without the app, we probably would have gotten lost in the tunnels. Some of the stations are like mazes.
Did you buy paper tickets or use a card?
We bought a weekly pass that we could load onto a card. It was very convenient. You just tap it at the gate and go through. It's much cheaper than buying a single ticket every time.
That is a good tip for our viewers. But did you spend the whole time underground?
Not at all. We actually did a lot of walking. In my opinion, walking is the best way to explore a new city.
I agree. You see things when you walk that you would miss if you were on a bus or a train.
Exactly. We stumbled upon so many beautiful little parks and shops just by walking between attractions, but it was tiring.
I can imagine. How many steps were you doing a day?
My phone tracker said we were doing about 20,000 steps a day. By the end of the day, my feet were throbbing.
20,000 steps. That is a serious workout. You definitely earned those croissants you talked about earlier.
That is what I told myself. I walked 10 kilometers so I can eat this cake.
Did you ever get lost while walking?
Yes, a few times. The streets in Paris aren't a perfect grid like in New York. They wind and curve. But getting lost was actually fun. We found a lovely street artist performing music one time just because we took a wrong turn.
Sometimes getting lost leads to the best memories. So the verdict is metro for speed, walking for sightseeing.
Precisely. And comfortable shoes are mandatory.
We have covered so much ground today, Luna. We've talked about the food, the museums, the language, and the transportation. But now I want to ask you the most difficult question.
Oh no, what is it?
If you had to choose just one experience, just one moment from the entire trip that was better than everything else, what would it be? What was the absolute highlight?
That is a very tough question because I loved everything. But if I really have to pick one, I would say it was the boat cruise on the Seine River.
Ah, a river cruise. I've seen photos of those long boats. Did you do it during the day or at night?
We decided to go at night, just after sunset. And honestly, that was the best decision we made. You know how people call Paris the City of Lights?
Yes, it is one of its most famous nicknames.
Well, on that boat ride, I finally understood why. Seeing the city from the water at night is a completely different experience compared to walking on the streets during the day.
How so? Was it the atmosphere?
Yes. During the day, the city is loud and fast, but on the river at night, everything felt peaceful and slow. The city monuments like the Louvre, the Musée d'Orsay, and the Notre Dame Cathedral are all illuminated with golden lights.
That sounds incredibly romantic.
It was magical. The lights reflect on the dark water, so it looks like you are floating through gold. We sat on the open upper deck. The wind was a little bit chilly, but we didn't care because the view was so spectacular.
Did you pass under the famous bridges?
Yes, that was the fun part. Every time the boat passed under a bridge, all the people walking on the bridge would wave down at us, and everyone on the boat would wave back and cheer. It felt like a celebration.
That sounds like such a happy moment. Was there a specific landmark that looked the best from the water?
Definitely the Eiffel Tower. We timed the tour perfectly so that we were right in front of the tower when it started to sparkle on the hour. Looking up at it from the river makes it look even taller and more majestic than seeing it from the ground.
It sounds like a scene from a movie.
It really felt like one. I remember sitting there, feeling the cool breeze, listening to the water, and just thinking, I am so lucky to be here. It was a moment of pure gratitude.
That is a beautiful sentiment. It sounds like the perfect way to end a trip.
It was. If any of our viewers go to Paris, the night cruise is the one thing they absolutely cannot miss. It is worth every penny.
I am definitely adding that to my bucket list. Thank you for sharing that story, Luna. Wow, Luna, thank you so much for sharing your holiday experience with us. It felt like we were right there with you in Paris.
It was my pleasure, Martin. Reliving these memories makes me want to book another flight immediately. But sadly, I have to go back to work.
Well, at least you have the photos and the memories. Now, before we say goodbye to our amazing viewers, let's take a moment to review what we learned today. We used some excellent advanced vocabulary during our chat.
That is a great idea. Learning through stories is the best way to remember new words. What was the first word that stood out to you, Martin?
I really like the word breathtaking. You used it when you talked about the Eiffel Tower and the river cruise.
Yes. Breathtaking is an adjective used to describe something that is extremely beautiful or astonishing. It is so beautiful that it feels like it takes your breath away. You can say, the view from the mountain was breathtaking.
Perfect. Another important word we discussed was cuisine.
Right. Cuisine refers to a style or method of cooking, especially from a specific country or region. So instead of just saying French food, you can say French cuisine. It sounds much more sophisticated.
Exactly. And we also talked about a challenge that many travelers face, the language barrier.
This is a very common phrase. The language barrier is the difficulty in communication between people who speak different languages. But as we learned, using technology and being polite can help you overcome that barrier.
And finally, you mentioned the word etiquette when you talked about entering shops.
Yes, etiquette refers to the customary code of polite behavior in a society. Every country has different etiquette. In France, saying bonjour is an essential part of their etiquette.
These are 4 very powerful words/phrases: breathtaking, cuisine, language barrier, and etiquette. If you use these in your next English conversation, you will sound very natural and fluent.
Absolutely. Try to write a sentence with one of these words in the comment section below. We would love to read them. Speaking of comments, we have our question of the day for you guys.
We want to know, if you could travel anywhere in the world right now for free, where would you go and why?
That is a tough question. I would probably choose Japan, but let us know your answer in the comments.
And if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow.
And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. We have many more exciting lessons coming up, including topics on business English and daily routines.
Thank you so much for watching Learn English. Keep practicing, stay curious, and we will see you in the next video.
Bye, everyone. Au revoir.